Hi everyone, I am Tara, aka Spirit Mother, and I'd like to welcome you back to my channel. I'm making Spirit teaching you doing themselves. I'm not live on my TikTok right now because, hey, they banned my account because I was bringing truth to light. People that I was bringing about forward, they put in complaints and everything. So, but I'm also live on my Facebook. If you're new to my channel, I recommend, suggest, and I really encourage you all to go read the description of my YouTube channel, Spirit to Spirit Teaching, going with yourself, get a better understanding of what it is that I'm doing on my channel. I talk about, you know, the, the ones in politics, your government, your just the entire system, and I put forward things of my own family, and I brought things forward of myself. Has been a lot of my life experiences. And today I'm talking about invention, inventions. Because a lot of people, like you have something in your mind and it could probably make a damn good invention, but you, you take it to and you voice it to somebody else and you say, oh, now that. Well, they're just jealous, right? And I am questioning where my ex-husband has been getting his money. Like, did you steal my invention? And that's why you have a guilty conscience. And every time I say, well, my invention is like this, the irritation. I gave you a chance. Even said, you helped me finish paying off the $9,400 and some dollars, $9,400 and some dollars, and the invention will get going, and I'd sign a thing giving you 20% of royalties. But for some reason, you don't want to do that. And maybe people don't believe me on it. I have it right here. Hey, there's the agreement right here. They're on to the preliminary. Certified. So I guess, they say, like, don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody, like, just the ones you trust. But see, the thing is, I'm not doing this. I didn't bring forward. God didn't give me this. Spirit didn't give me this to bring forward for the money. It's like, hey, you want to help me pay the remainder? And we'll sit and talk about you getting a percentage of royalties. It's not a bunch of different investors. It's that one. The one honest one that wants to get it out there to the public and not about making money yourself. See, people that know me will laugh at me because, oh yeah, you got that. No, you do. Oh, I do. And I have spirit to thank for it because spirit wants it to people because, you're getting all these storms and you're saying about all the floods and what have you. Well, that's because you're digging in your ground all over. You're putting holes around like tunnels and putting all this piping and everything in there because you say that you need it for the infrastructure for sewage. I think jealousy comes from someone who has 22 trades, and because they didn't come up with it themselves, because they had other inventions, but they were too afraid. Or they said, "Oh, I didn't have the money." Well, I didn't have the money either. But every month, I'm taking $100 and I'm putting it towards it. So it does. It makes me question, like, what did you do? Steal it from me and sell it to somebody else? Or did you forge my signature? Because I do have to question how people who had no money could end up with so much. God didn't give the invention to me as a way of money because it becomes the inheritance. Sure, it's the people's inheritance. But you don't get that idea. I feel sorry for people because to my ex-husband, don't ever tell me that you pray to God because you only pray to God for his fucking selfishness. You pray to cover your own fucking ass. If you're even my ex-husband. Because, in all honesty, I cannot understand why someone would not invest, but they say they don't have the means, but $100,000 within a year. But you don't have the means, which, prior to that, it was brought to your attention and you mocked it. Any person in their right mind, if they were offered an opportunity, especially someone who says, I want to help my family, I want to help my no, you don't want to help your family. Either that or you already stole it and you're helping your family that way. But they're supposed to keep the door shut. Because in many ways, I question my own paternity. And that's gonna piss a lot of people off. What's the difference? I never felt like I was part of the family anyways. So hey, maybe I should just call the inventing company and say, hey, fuck the money, just get it out to the people. Because, it's like obviously nobody wants me to have anything. And that says a lot for you people. When you don't want somebody else to have something, you'll even go to the extent of stealing it from some dollars, it's US. One of my family members said, "Well, you're going to be off for a long time anyway." You would think if you weren't in on something with foul play, you would think that you would be wanting to even donate $10 towards it because it meant generational wealth for your family too, because it would be family, right? But see, I already caught my ex-husband downstairs here while I was gone, but he'll say he wasn't. I have you on fucking recording, dude. But you'll say that it was being heard from up on the top floor when it sounded like you were right next to the fucking camera. Like I can feel when people throw energetic vibrations at me and everything like that, and that's pretty fucking stuff. With everything that's transpired these past 5 years, should I, like, out of everybody, should I even fucking remotely believe that there is a God? They call it a spiritual psychosis. The system is the psychosis. And anybody that works for the system and causes harm to people. I really feel sorry for the family members because that tells me that you fuck over your own family, Peter. This is biblical, and Peter was the fucking traitor. Why do you think the depiction, the saying about Peter buried upside down? The upside down cross. That's the version of what it is that we're witnessing. I'm not talking about the Bible, biblical text. I'm talking about the story itself and how fucked up the story is. But all the books, biblical texts, any scriptures or what have you, it's talking about the theft, thievery, and then you steal from your own family, and then you try to make people think that they're the crazy ones and they're the ones that need help. No, you're a klepto. You're a pathological liar. It's like people want me living on the streets because it's the same that your biblical stuff did to Mary Magdalene, what they did to the mother. They demonized the mother. They cast the mother out because the mother was the strength. The mother was what gave birth. So to separate the mother from the children is the only way they feel like they can divide the system, divide the people and families. I've already had one of my family members says to me, well, hurry up, get it done. We could use some money. Well, how about you help invest? Or have you already done that? You know, anyone should not even want to like their family or be around their family. It'd be someone like myself, because there are many of us I resonate with Mary Magdalene very much. You know, it's like you say about Adam and Eve, Lucifer and Lilith, the Sophia Christ. You'll say, oh, you have a spiritual psychosis. No, I don't have a spiritual psychosis. Like, with all due respect, you guys are the ones sitting in the fucking pews and telling everybody else they're sinners. I'll be honest, I've been around more churchgoers that have fucking ripped me off and treated me like a piece of shit than someone who, like, doesn't even believe in God. There are three systems taking place. System, the illusion system, shadow system, and the true reality. Yeah, Father, the Son, and the Mother. Father, yeah, Mother, and the daughter. Because everybody protects me and my daughter. She was the one who crossed, and she was the one who got stabbed because they were trying to stab the female. They were trying to stab and kill off the one that was the true, the one that had the true balance of the mother and the father, the magic, the God, and the spirit, physically. You all did the same thing. They all did the same thing to Nikola Tesla. And I was reading Tesla's biography of what he went through with his own family. His father was of the priesthood and didn't get along with Nikola Tesla because Nikola Tesla seen from a whole other point of view. So Tesla went the way of his mother. Tesla's brother went the way of his father. So it's Nikola Tesla inspired people. He may have been an arrogant blackboy and spent time alone. Maybe he didn't love them because maybe you felt one wrong, but you were very intelligent, brilliant, and he referred to himself as Lucifer, much like Lucifer. And now they're talking about delusion and social media. The delusion is the bullshit they're pumping out. That's you're living in an illusion and being delusional. Right now, I even have the receipts of what I paid them for. And I'm in the second last phase. People can laugh at me. That's fine. Well, if this is not real, then I guess somebody owes me some fucking money, and not that, and like all of it. The person I'm working with even said that they talked to the person who invested to give them a better understanding of the reality. Because the day that I filed with the invention company, I had my name and the information said, but before I had the rest of it sent through, they were already calling me. It's not about the money. It's about bringing it forward because it's my church to do it. See, they're reluctant to do it because they know that it's already there. And they're trying to prevent it. And the only thing that I can fathom, even why I would question it, is because you're so reluctant, you don't want to help. But all of a sudden, you're coming with all this money. And I asked the girl $5, you say you don't have it. I'm very grateful to my nephew and my son and my sister and my dad when I need to borrow money. But in all honesty, I shouldn't have to borrow money. You can try and make people think that I'm crazy. But according to the medical field, a crisis therapist, she told me they have me diagnosed as unexplained. So it's not mental health. Yes, but those are typically sick on much of it, right? And if you're like, if you're a Freemason and you're treating me like a piece of shit, that says a lot for you. because maybe you shouldn't be a Mason. If you're a Templar and you're doing this to me or anyone like you too should be strict of your seals, your codes. And if you're of the church, you should be strict of your priesthood. You should be taken out and made as an example of because you're supposed to be the example. But you make for them. You do not represent the God that and a jealous God, nor is anyone else. So you can think that it's spiritual psychosis or whatever. You don't even fucking know what it is. It's spiritual psychosis. You don't know what mental health is. It doesn't matter how many times you fucking look through or you see people. People be insulted by this. I went into community services to speak to my worker while my worker was leaving. This old, cranky looking lady, and I said, cranky looking because she was, yeah, lady, I could think you, are you a bot? She said that they can't help you find a place. No, your worker actually is supposed to sit with you to find a way to come to a solution to protect your safety, physically, mentally, and emotionally, and spiritually. That's why you're there. Why it's in place. You know, the employment support worker don't even contact me. They expected me to go and volunteer somewhere to work at a cash register. But so they thought that I'd be working in the archives part of it and the museum itself. Let's see them too. Go to church. So just because you go to church and you have a religion, it doesn't make you a good person. It just gives you a place to try. And I'm not saying that all people who go to church are bad people because they're looking for hope and something bigger than themselves to help them. But they won't preach to you that you're capable of doing it yourself. You are capable of bringing that creativity and invention with yourself because all those people, whoever came up with it, those people that ever shut it down, is because they had the opportunity to, but they didn't take it for the same reason. I took love. Love and being able to be yourself. True. The true currency is what is worth more than wood because it's called integrity. Morals. People think, oh, you think you're such a goody goody. No, I know I'm not a fucking goody goody. And in all actuality, I want to tell everybody to go fuck themselves, and I just want to go be a hellion and say, let's go fucking party without the drinking and drugs. Just partying with being in your own energy, feeling that energy. Just young. Puro quiero estar aquí, caray. But you worship money, and then you pray to God, and then wonder why you don't get it. You know, it's not clear that we go for everything's all about money. But the ones that preach about it are the ones that are begging for it. The ones that are saying, God wants your money and he'll give 10%. And then, oh, we're going to class it as a non-profit organization, so you don't have to pay taxes. So you give us your money and then we're going to still make you pay taxes. And then we're going to preach to you how bad money is. Hey, Jesus, are you ready to come back and fight? Hey, Yeshua, are you going to stop smoking a peace pipe and garage and grow a set of balls? Because Yeshua hung around with ones that would sit around and just smoke a peace pipe and say, you know, call those the hippies. No offense, so don't take any. And if you do, that's on you, okay? Because, those are the ones that want to keep peace, want to bring peace. And we're using substances to be there because that's just a part of almost like a denial. Yes, I like people going and tying themselves to trees because they want to protect the forest. They want to protect nature. Yes, and you are in the right for that. And people will mock you for that. Those are the ones that are standing out. Those are the ones that have the balance. They're not on oil or just Yeshua or Jesus. They're in the middle. They're in the middle. They know what's right, and they fight for it. And then you have the ones with regards to Jesus. Jesus was the one that hung around with, the felons, the lawmakers, saying, believing that I could change, or even getting himself involved in it. Then you had the Mother Mary, you had Mary. Mary Magdalene wanted peace, but she knew what it took. She knew she had to stand up, and that's why stones were thrown at her, whether it was physical stones or verbal stones. And I can relate to that. I actually called it dodgeball. It literally involves I'll stand up for my words done if I know they're right. You know, your religious, biblical stuff. It was always about me, and in all actuality, they were tired. They demonized the feminine, and that's why they demonized the feminists. And they will ridicule a man who is capable of having feminine traits, and they will call them the pussy. They're not the pussy, but you are the coward. Because if you think that a man is the one that's supposed to be the superior one, then you don't know what a woman is. Because the man came from the womb of the woman. See, I can feel all the effects that come on, and that's what I love for those people. Because they're gang up on one person. It's like a bullying in the playground. Like I said, I didn't come here to play nice in the playground for the bullying. So I guess, you did the same thing to Mary Magdalene. The men ganged up on her, and the women ganged up on her because they were in love with the man. But did you know the man was only fucking using you? It's like in the biblical text, everyone blamed Judas. It was the whole opposite of what they did. And then in Psalm, it says that Judas took his own life. Did he take his own life, or did Peter kill him or have him killed because Judas knew the truth? And will never be the truth. And usually will send in a young offender to do it. And that's why in the biblical text you have the, with the boys. It all started with Peter, right? A lot of it. You won't believe that because you worship your saints. Here was Christ Jesus is half brother. And it was all about inheritance. You know, you said that Jesus lived off Mary Magdalene, and Mary Magdalene was the wealthy one, right? You know, I'm just saying, I'm not here preaching biblical text. You know, I'm just using it as a story reference to what you're witnessing in the world today. Because, hey, you know, it's just like those times, right? And I can feel it trying to, like, right here. It's like, por eso que por eso aquí estoy. Stake because, you know, you figure Donald Trump has, people said Donald Trump had a of it. What, you have the one being gold? Or, hey, to my ex-husband, do you think I don't know? Because what you're witnessing, because I'll tell you right now, it's strange, but my Donald Trump is the same age as my dad. And I told my ex-husband that he reminds me of him. No offense, Dad, but he reminds me of you sometimes, and he reminds me of my two sons. It reminds me of every version of like every version of anybody that I've ever come across. And you know, hey, they say you go up against God. Well, you know, as somebody stand in front of me here in this spot, right by my door, and told me, said to me, I am God. Are you my God? Is what I asked him. And then come out of 5 years. And back in 2020, 2 days before I did had the last overdose, I think, you know, this is the only way I was going to end it all. And I'm not ashamed to say that. I don't encourage people to take over. I was in my bed and I was channeling so much all at once. And it was all coming into my mouth. Lucifer, go home to Father. Father's dying. You know, that's why I got the feeling from Lucifer. Lucifer feels like, you know, I should have let the Father die. Some would say, well, that's fucking cool. Well, hey, you know, the Father was cool to Lucifer. Thank you, whoever just reminded me. Okay, you have here an image of the ark. Okay, they carry it. They're worshiping gold. They're worshiping money. Okay? And they're carrying this around because they're trusting not. You are this. Okay? This is you. The box. Pandora's box. Okay, but you say this is the cover. That's Pandora's box. That's what's inside of the box. Okay? You have these two figures up here. Okay, touching them in the middle. That's the masculine and feminine. And inside this box, what they say is inside the box. Okay, they say some kind of formula, drink, or what have you. Okay, would that represent the blood, like you say, the blood of Christ? Okay, which is the blue blood, the water that flows through you, the sacredness of it, the holiness of it. They say sword of Aaron, sword of Aaron. It's your voice, it's your truth. They say about an energy focus, an energy source, or what have you. And the energy could not the people, certain people, if they went up to it, they couldn't withstand the energy that box carries, which represents the energy within you. Era puro psiquical. Y supremamente puro psiquical. It's that part, they take things and they put it into a symbol to have you worship that, to worship that box, to worship that gold, which is the replica of the money. It's saying that you are profitable to them, you are worth money to them. You can be of wealth to them, or you can be of a problem to them. And I just seem to be a problem and of wealth to them. Because they live off your energy. It's the energy vampires. Empires. They're vamping off their empires. See? But what do I know? Hey, great, sixth grade, Grampy. Y de to pure care siamo andati stati siti tu pure che te eri I know there's Freemasons in my family. And I'm pretty sure, like, the two of them that were, they passed and they were leaving signs for me to remember my own heritage. Because every time I go look in my genealogy, everybody goes, like, "What are we? You're not real family." Well, hey, if they're not family, then how the fuck did you get seriously, how did you get here? If they're not family, your mother came from somewhere, your father came from somewhere. If it weren't for their parents and their parents before them and before them and before them and before them and before them, whether you're adopted or not or switched at birth, your parents had parents, and if it weren't for them, you wouldn't be here. Realtà è l'università. So I really don't give a shit if you look at me like I have 100 fucking heads and that you want to laugh at me, and then goes on my Facebook and tries to say you look weird, you have mental health issues. Well, if that's the case, if somebody has mental health issues, what the fuck are you picking on them for? Maybe you should be the one going to get your fucking head checked. And then you say you're not a bully. In other words, if you ridicule somebody because you think that they have mental health issues, you're the worst kind. And I'll tell you right now, it shows a lot of your character, and people are seeing it. Because I've had people that you know that I know that also see that. I speak up and address what people don't want. So that's why with my, like when I hear people you saying about not having any money, not having any money, but when an opportunity comes along, you can get access to money in the other thing. But when a real opportunity that comes around that you know shows you that hey, you don't have to worry about that money that you're worried about all the time now. If you just like take a leap of faith, but not because it is we were working together to keep it secret. I look back at King James, how King James killed his own mother, and his aunt was in on it for power and wealth. That is him. So he is that version of James because they keep living, they just keep giving themselves different names. It's called King. Some even stage their own deaths so that they can go. Did you ever watch the movie Face Off? Nicolas Cage and John Travolta. Who was the man that had the many faces? The other face. Movies or perceived to be fiction, nonfiction, I give you an opportunity now, and it leads me to believe that you always stole something. Let's go back to 2021 when I was in the psychiatric unit, and someone asked me to sign something for them because they needed a witness to get an apartment. And I'll be honest, my ex-husband don't even look like my ex-husband that I got into the relationship. And it was like it was a switch so fast. But hey, spirit's trying to tell me something, and I wouldn't be giving. Maybe I should talk to my bank and say someone you can trust. Trust my bank, but hey, do whatever you gotta do to get it to people. See, I know that I'm being tracked, and I know about storage jumpers and people say, well, yes, I went somewhere and I stopped into a store and there was a lady in there. She had a medical condition and she was really shaky. Like she just like could speak everything. I apologize for not what the name of it is. But before I even knew who she was, can I come up to the spirit took me up to her? And spirit took her hand and started speaking in spirit, and I started speaking in spirit language, like bringing her over. And then I was like, I asked her, like, what? And then she was really, she could not, still, and I hugged her. And when I hugged her, she held right on to me. It was just, it was a very nice embrace. And she held on. And the whole time that she was holding on to me, she was not shaking at all. And I did it twice for her. And then she told me that she used to be a clergy. Yeah, I, and the list is pretty good. I said it. Spirit sends me where I need to be when I need to be there. Even if it's just giving her that moment of relief, that was I didn't need money. Half the time I wanted to money and shove up people's asses and tell them here, go fucking swim in it. You love it so much. But I'm a bad person. And I don't need to pity, and I don't need to. I'd rather walk alone and the spirit than walk with a sacred person and someone who values money and who values friendship. So if I hear, she's no fucking difference. I mean, I think that is what she is. I have friends who something we don't understand. So if you even try to understand, you would be called fucking stupid, moron, poor, and kind of everything like that. It's just, you know, what you've done is very right, and you're still doing it, and you still sit and pray for most people. And I pray to God is God, I God is pray for somebody else. Acts like we pray and say, God, get her away from me. It's like you fucking started it. So God replied for me. God would get her away, get me, go the fuck up. So please excuse me or not if I call you an adolescent little child because I sure the fuck with you. Children are more common sense than you. Children are more compassionate, intelligence, and wisdom than you. Whereas my oldest son, my dad told me, I know why. Why don't you tell me? Because he said, he told me that it was something that was really stupid. He doesn't know why he even be mad at me for it. It's like, are you doing anything to help it? It's like, hey, I know why he's mad at you too. It's like, at least I do stuff with all my shit. People will get in the way to try to prevent me from doing it, but you wouldn't know how fucking it is. And if I couldn't stand up for myself, I would like feel like my own children would stand up for me. Half the time, like when there's half the time when there's a fight in the family, that's when you really have to look at parents with regards to it. Because it's parents' responsibility to sort the shit out. Not saying you guys all you do is ever fight. Why are they fighting? My ex-husband will throw shit at me about like what he knows about my family and what they do with my family. But he's really look for own fucking family. With all due respect, you're the one that's running. You can stand up above my head all you want.
And that's where, you really can't just have $12,000 banking on someone that he says is like a kid that won't do anything to work, but yet you spend more than $12,000 to get equipment to set something up so he can work for you. Gamble on someone that you say that you should never have gambled on, but someone that has something. You won't gamble on it, and that leads me to ask the question, did you already steal it from me? And that's why, because you're afraid they might find out, or I might find out. Seriously, because hey, everyone, I have a diamond bracelet and a diamond necklace for sale. I have some rings for sale. I have some moccasins for sale. Because hey, I didn't want that shit. I said about just giving me the money and I'll put it towards my invention. You can't do that, right? Because you think that you can buy love through materialistic things and money. Anyone in the right mind would tell you go fuck yourself. Because I'm not your fucking boy. I wore the necklace once or twice and wore the bracelet once. The rings are still in my car, but I don't even want them in my car. I can't wait to get them taken off because I want to shove all of it right up his fucking ass. And the moccasins, I tried them on. I never worn them. And then I'm ungrateful. I'm unappreciative. Maybe you could buy other people. She said Christmas time passed when we got the necklace. And he got me a telescope and I had photographs of. And then he bought himself some big sterling silver necklaces, because a woman was standing there. And he said, "Oh, well, you're lucky you got something priced up for you." Hey, lady, seriously? He only did it for fucking show because a woman was. I didn't ask for the bracelet, and I actually didn't want it. But you got to boost your ego, right, man? So if I have no respect for you, that's your own thing. And I really don't give two shits if you get any respect for me because you never did. See, the strange thing is, you know, my ex-husband, we didn't pay for my paralegal course because I paid for that because I was on unemployment at the time. But for me to go to Dalhousie for the courses, he paid for that. you know, like when you beat on someone, it's not necessarily that it's physical, but it becomes more of a physical feeling when you mentally, emotionally, and spiritually abuse someone. That's what prevents it from working. And the woman that said, "Oh, well, you blame people because of your mental health," yeah, because you know you like it's like you want psychological warfare, motherfucker. In 2011, he told me if I ever divorced him and left him, he was going to make my life a living hell. Well, hey, I guess you're living up to your bargain, so maybe I should make yours a living hell. Oh wait, you have everybody fucking ganging up on me because you're the manipulative liar, and you know what kind of money are you giving people to keep their fucking mouth shut? Because, like I say, I hope it's all worth it to you. People say you're paranoid. No, I'm not fucking paranoid. You know, put some pieces of the puzzle together. But wait, you be the ones that will pull up. People that don't are the people that know that they're the ones that feel. And your guilty conscience is coming through by the way you talk to me and treat me. Because every fucking one of you, I would have went with you and see the difference between me and you. Because I'm one that needs to share, and you're the ones that need to share and share what you have. Or if you do share, it's only because you want validation and verified. Because he has no problem saying, "Oh well, I bought her a diamond necklace." Good for fucking you. That goes to show how fucking shallow you are. I had more self worth and more appreciation for finding all this glass and bottles and everything along the path than I had for diamonds. My $25 crystal bracelet is worth more to me than a fucking diamond because it has healing properties. And you use diamonds for to show wealth or status. You use gold. Gold has healing properties, yes. But how many people can afford? So I have lots of appreciation for things that deserve appreciation. Just separato por ahí. Right here. Right here. And right here. Let's go see my rims. Let's go see my rims. $1,600 for my rims. And he got irritated and he said that I needed the rims because I had 2 original rims and 2 winter rims. There's my rims. I'd rather have, and no, I'm not just going to sell it for pennies because I want to take it and put it towards the invention. That was the thing. If it's not something you're hiding, or if it's not coming from jealousy, because my name might be on something, you did steal a lot of, they did steal a lot of female inventions. Women made the invention, they had the inventions, and the man took the credit for it. See, these are look, two $29 necklaces from women. $1,600. That would have right now 60%. I'm at 39.70. Well, that's 69%. Let's see. Here's my calculator. I'll say 1,600. More than 1,600. That would take me down to, for the 60%, it would take me down to $2,370. Then whatever I got out of these, that would take me down even more and it would be that much closer. But when I said about like the rims, he was just like, well, you fucking sell them then. You don't appreciate anything. You sell them then. You still get some of my money back. Dude, it was my birthday present. So why would you get any of the fucking money back? But to you, it's not about the money? Bullshit. That's all it is about. Because you think that you can go blind. I'm not your little, like the ones that you can just throw a few pennies to on the fucking side of the street because, they're selling themselves to try to make a living because some fucking asshole decided that they were going to traffic them. You're energetically trafficking me. You think I don't fucking know that? The greatest gift is the gift to others, the kindness of the gift to others, something that will benefit humanity as a whole, not just self. I had, like, and I explained it with regards to worshiping worshiping yourself. Fuck everybody else, right? As long as you got what you need and you fuck somebody over to get what you need. Because it push your ego, meanwhile you're fucking whining about the other person that you fucked over to boost your own ego. Is it, I have nobody in my ex-husband told me the reason why this stuff couldn't end is because you never stopped talking about this stuff. Hey dude, they were the ones talking to me about their stuff. Thank you very much, mother asshole. I was about to say motherfucking asshole. And your name calling. He name calls me all the time and tells me I'm a stupid idiot. And I'm far from a fucking stupid idiot boy. You need to go back to school and fucking educate yourself. Oh wait, you think you know everything already, and then you say it's me who thinks I know everything. It's like people look at somebody that says, "Oh, my 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 father is my brother, and my brother is my grandfather." We're talking about spirit, but you know there are families where their father could be their brother and their grandfather their father. Sister be the mother. And those are secrets that get hidden. You think I don't know that all the fucking secrets that are in the family, not on my own, but others. You know, secrets are what destroy families. Okay, you know, it must be your secret because you'd rather destroy a family than fucking sort it out and be close together. Because if you did that, you might reveal your own secret. Because you might want to take it to the grave, right? This is why nobody heals. Because of people like that. What? Is it going to make you look bad? Or do you think it's going to cause even more? Maybe you should be worried about like who the secret pertains to and how it's hurting them. Fuck everybody else. Why like you? Why don't you be honest with the one that it affects most? That you would fuck over someone in your family. So then protecting yourself from you. And then you wonder why that person gets so angry because they know they're hiding a secret, but you'd rather push them away and turn everything on them and say that, oh, well, they're crazy. You know, they're not. They just know that the secret is like children and possibly even positions within family. Because, you know, I always say, like, for some reason, I always felt like it was a dirty little secret. What's the dirty little secret being that? Because I'm sure it's not my oldest son. Because everybody knows about that. to the easiest way to keep the secret from coming out is pushing the person away that the secret is about. Because they might get too close to finding out. But Spirit's telling me, and you'll still tell me I'm crazy. So what kind of proof do I have to get? It's that part of why should I care about how it makes somebody else feel? Piece of shit. No movie. So hey, before someone else says shit at me, you might want to know why I'm so fucking angry. To get the word to get the things. To get the thing to this. Fuck. Some people, their father can actually be their fucking brother, like I said, or their sister, or their sister, or sorry, sister. Your mother could be your sister. It doesn't just happen through adoption, it's just at birth. It happens through putting eggs or having the eggs formed. Artificial insemination. You have to wonder why people want to keep someone isolated. And I know that other spirits speak through me because they figure if I speak through them, then I can make other people think that they're deluded or crazy. Because I know that certain people have these gifts because it's passed down from generation to generation within your DNA, and you wake up to it. Quisiera que tuviese de cabeza es su tecnología because I know it falls on my father's side and it falls on my mother's side. People think you're crazy because you say about witches and warlocks. Fuck, it's in your history. But oh, right, their church will tell you that's demonic. Well, I guess hey, you might want to sit back and really realize that they're saying that Jesus must have been demonic because hey, all the stuff you were saying that Jesus was doing, spells, energy, healing, purification, So that's why a lot of us now we're saying, like, no offense to people who are really into this, and then the biblical text is actually helping. But to the ones that you're being manipulated by because you're not using your own discernment and your own knowing and looking at it from your perspective of your own upbringing and what you see in the world today. Okay, okay, Thomas. And hey, they say about Levi, how Levi was on the side of Niger. Well, my second great Grammy's last name, they pronounced it Levi. And before that was Solomon. Solomon was holy, and that was 11 generations. Oh, wrong book. But hey, why are you talking about that stuff? There's a lot of people that say we're in Revelations now. It's the end of the world. It's the end of the control. And are you ready to be fucking part of taking new control? Or are you going to remain a bot and someone that continues to get it from the phone? They're showing you the illusion in front of you, and then you're going behind you and saying, he said that. Hey, Ezekiel, galesinumo kaya, niyoshono kumayata, nukuto Israel. The spirit of the living being was in the wheels. So wherever the spirit went, the wheels and the living beings also went. When the beings moved, the wheels moved. When the beings stopped, the wheels stopped. When the beings flew upward, the wheels rose up. For the spirit of the living beings was in the wheels. And they're talking about ancient civilizations, and what happened today. I don't know if you were. There it is. So hey, we got Anunnaki chronicles, the wheel, it's like the human, it's like the human life, the timepiece, the clock, okay? It goes round, the time goes round. Go watch the movie In Time. They use the digital time on your wrist, and you work for time. So the chronicles. Hey, I even have an encyclopedia of the spirits. And the other day I was watching a video with regards to one of the voodoo doctors, Papa, I have it in my thing. And I went and read about that. I even like followed it in my thing. Maybe I should do something about that. And then I was driving somewhere yesterday, and we got into this one community. And while we were in the community, I went to it was a museum and a church, and I was walking around there, and I was talking to this talking to the woman there, and I got to this one stand, and I ended up finding out because I was getting like there's a lot of energy attached to it, and it had a crystal inside of it, a raw crystal, and I picked up the crystal, and the crystal was like it was all energy was removed from it, and I could feel the energy on this table. It was like a glass top, and I started getting there, and I was feeling the energy, and then all of a sudden it was like I was being shown what was held in that table, and it was a gun that was held in that table, and the man that owned the gun had shot himself. And then we went out further, and I channeled the name uh, Marigold. So I looked up the name the last name Marigold, and it said that it had come from English origin during medieval times, and they migrated to Nova Scotia, where it was going through. Because I was going through there, and I said, like, holy shit, man, the energy I'm getting from this, it's like I'm going through the fucking deliverance. So this here is the ultimate guide to the magic of fairies, jinns, demons, ghosts, gods, and goddesses. Saints, angels, and demons. But hey, people say, well, that's demonic. Well, if this stuff is demonic, then I guess this is just as fucking demonic because it's about the same fucking shit. They demonize your ancestors and then say that they were the fucking problem. No, they weren't the problem. Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene. Hey, I have the Jewish, I have some of the Zohar, I have the Book of Enoch, the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, the Book of Thomas, the Emerald Tablets, Joe Dispenza's Becoming Spiritual Natural, Supernatural Spirit, the Union of Ice and Soap. Hey, not just one, but two books regarding Nikola Tesla. So if Nikola Tesla refers to himself as, the embodiment of Lucifer, come burn me up a stake because I guess, I like Lucifer. And would you like me to get you across? I will save you the fucking trouble. Do I need the nails? Because I have those down in my shed too. The exact same type of nails that they would have used in what you perceive to be the crucifixion of Christ.
Hey, they took me off TikTok because I brought this stuff forward. So the ones that put the complaints in about me, you were likely people that I knew, and you had fucking fake accounts. To my ex-husband, you likely had a fucking fake account and say that you don't use this shit. Bullshit. And if you think I don't know that my fucking phones are tapped, that you don't have an app on your phone watching my camera too, and you say I'm living in a delusion, but you'll go say, oh no, it's just saying all this shit. Hey, wouldn't surprise me if other people have that app on their phone and you wanted them to connect with my stuff so they could see what's going on. It's like the fucking Truman Show. You want to fucking show? How about we do the show? Would you like me to turn around and pull my trousers down and give you the fucking moon with the finger in the middle? Oh wait, they'll say that is like a community violation, a community violation, because TikTok said that my truth was a community violation because what? But yet a group of women dancing around topless, whether it was their culture or not, with their boobs flopping around and everything like that, that's not a violation. But nudity on your channel is, or with a woman with her legs spread open, with it right in people's face, whether she had a bikini bottom on or not, that's a little sexist, is it not? But me bringing my story and my truth forward, that offends you, I must say. It's like, I know when people look at me a certain way, and you think that I'm saying this stuff to, like, say that I'm all holier than now and that you guys are pieces of crap or, you're not worthy of anything, well, that's where you'd be mistaken. Because it's not me that says that, it's a system that has you programmed into thinking that. So when somebody like myself and many others like me show growth and self worth, others want to shoot that down and say, oh, well, they think they're better than us. No, we don't. We're just not going to live in that programming anymore, leaving us think that we're less than what we truly are, or that we have to go flip burgers for somebody else. My ex-husband, he told me, well, it's up to people if they want to eat that stuff. Yes, it's up to people if they want to eat it. So wouldn't that make it up to me whether or not I wanted to be the one flipping the burger and handing it to the person? I don't want to be the one responsible, like saying, okay, here, I'll feed it to you, knowing full well, okay, it is your choice, but it's my choice as to whether or not I want to give it to you. Because in the end, it's my consciousness that has to live with that fact, maybe I just gave somebody some food that just fucking poisoned them.
It's like my dad was a cleaner, and in a public building, and you take and you have a shit, you wipe your fingers in it, and then you smear it on a fucking wall. You're fucking dirty. That is demonic shit to do. Because then you expect people like my father to go clean the shit off the wall that you put there. Because you're the dirty one. You're the demonic. You're the fucking dude. Go get help. Instead of telling people like myself to go get help. Maybe when you've done that, somebody should have figured out you fucking did it and you put them in and rub their fucking nose in. You like to do that with animals, right? Except humans are supposed to know better. My ex-husband, maybe the dentist does stuff standing behind his crotch and put it in your mouth or around your nose. Maybe that was a karma that you got back for doing it to somebody else to do it back years ago. So please excuse me if I'm not so fucking polite to people. Or if I'm not kissing someone else. Because they want to try and bring me to my knees. Sorry, you want somebody to suck you out? Go find somebody new. Save yourself the hassle. Hey, that's so very nice language coming from a lady. Hey, I guess if I'm being foul and ignorant, I must be my masculine, right? So hey, let's talk. Okay? You may say, I appreciate nothing and I'm grateful. It should be wrong. And every time you say it to me, it's you trying to convince yourself that's what's really going on. Until you said that I always got what I wanted to call you and you like I had the book. And as far as this fucking necklace and bracelet and rings and want to say I'm appreciative, you know, you only did it to put your own ego and tell everybody else, oh, well, I bought this stuff and I get her this and I get her that. That's ego. And then you tell me that you that's what ego is. Somebody that wants to get things and say, oh, well, I did it to be nice. No, you didn't. You did it so that you could have people look up and say, oh, well, oh, look, she buys her this stuff and she don't appreciate it. No, I'm not a materialistic, non-material piece of shit. But it's not that it makes you a piece of shit for looking up to this stuff. It's the part of you that is related. It's like I'm in a situation where it's Mr. Smith, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, where they're a married couple, but they're both secret agents and they put together to kill one another. Right here. You know, I was in a vision and it was like it was freaking real. I don't remember what the person looked like. It was like they had this game or what have you, and Yeshua must have like something was going on. Somebody must have been picking on someone because in that vision they were up on it. They had themselves on it. The person that was picking on someone had themselves on up on a pedestal, and in that vision, I was the one running towards them, and I was hearing the words Yeshua. It was like you see things and they say Jesus thought he was all holier than thou. It was Yeshua who thought he was all holier than thou. And Jesus thought he was too big for his own britches. Oh, you're blaspheming. Well, that's the Father and the Son, but it's the stepfather. Because the real Father was the Father of Peter. Because if you look in the story of on the Chosen, where it has at the beginning, where a guy goes running to the priest and he's all full of blood because he said that Mary Magdalene was had demons, was demonic. He was in that shape because he was raping Mary Magdalene, and Mary Magdalene fought. Mary Magdalene fought back, and you will get that right. know. How about scholars actually get together and look at all the Bibles or your biblical texts? Oh, it's a whole lot of twisted and timelines. John 1, John 2, John 3. What error? Like, seriously, did you fucking find it all at once? I'm allowed to ask these questions, but TikTok, YouTube, and other platforms, they don't ask me that because the ones that produce the biblical text and the laws, and the governance, they are the ones in charge of writing your biblical text. But she'll tell me I'm blaspheming. Okay, take it up a spirit. Get up a gaze again. See, I don't care at all fucking easier. Straight out to lunch, I appear. Ask yourself, where did she learn these languages? How does she know things that she knows that people will still live in knowledge? Oh, she knew this. She did that. I don't fucking know. I read very little, and it spirit tells me whether or not it's accurate. And like I told many people, I'm a human lie detector. And that's why when I bring truth to light, that's why my body just goes fucking ridiculous looking. And then you'll laugh at me for it. You're not realizing how fucking you make me. But when you care, you're not going to feel it, right? I don't want to feel like you. Good. Because you're chosen to feel like me. And if you're chosen to be like me, or you're not like me, it's because you can handle what I have to go through. Or you were actually given the opportunity and you chose not to do it. It's not to repent, it's that's the true confession. I don't give a fuck how many times you go in and sit in a locked room next to a priest or pastor or whatever the heck they call themselves at that time, or in that congregation. Even legally speaking, like they're supposed to report stuff like that, but they don't because they're sworn to uphold an oath. Well, every time you go in and you confess that, and you go back out and you do the same thing again, does that not just mean that you just lied to God? Because you go in to confess because you're supposed to have learned something from it. But instead, you go in to confess just so you can say, oh, well, we're putting our sins on Jesus because Jesus died for our sins, but it's about fucking time. Jesus stopped dying for your sins, and you fucking take responsibility for that. And you wonder why. you're witnessing what you're witnessing in the world today. Maybe people should be standing up for Jesus and saying to these ones who say Jesus died on the cross for their sins. Maybe those people should be standing up saying, hey, Jesus will not die on the cross for you anymore. But see, the thing is, that's how much of a ego people have to believe that somebody else should die for what they do. Jesus had to go through his own death, rebirth, death, rebirth, death, rebirth. He was born human, right? Sí, dottore. Jesus will not die for your sins. And if he does, where he says he is, that's his ego talking. Because God does not expect one person to die for many. It's when you're going to stand up to him. The song, you put me on the pedestal at 15. Hear that song, because this is a message. You're going, you're going to get back up. So, now, I'm explaining to all of you that Christ's Spirit comes through me, comes through you. So if I'm bringing this invention forward. That's Christ trying to bring it forward. So not once, not twice, not thrice, but 3 times. But many times you have to deny that. Seriously. So before you look at me and think that I think I'm better than everybody else and I'm condemning your sins, don't take it personally because it has nothing to do with really you as it has to do with your systems. You know, that's what you're here to fight, not each other. But hey, what you're witnessing with people like myself, you're doing the same thing now as what you did in your pursuit of your dreams. So with that being said, I'm sending all much love, light, many blessings, what you very good health to anyone and everyone who wants to receive and accept. Want you all big, 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 great, completely be yourself, be your authentic self, the true kind to yourself, the true kind to others, and know that you have more strength than you have probably had times. And you know what? It's the system that fears that, and that's why it's rejoining. Love you all. Beautiful yesterday.